recognize that you're saying that they're all covered in KCB, and I haven't taken KCB apart yet, but I would like to make sure that we do not rescind policies that give guidance to the operations of the district and the values of the board in terms of discharging its responsibility to educate the children of Clark County.
Well, so you said you haven't reviewed KCB because it does a really nice job. We reviewed it earlier this summer.
I have reviewed it, but I have not taken against these policies that we are rescinding. And so I will have to do that, but fine. I wanted to make sure that policies didn't just happen out of a vacuum, that they are foundational to how we want to govern or how we want the district to perform based on the input from our community, our constituents, and our stakeholders. And if we don't have a place to articulate that other than in the law or in a single policy, then I want to make sure that we are careful and guard our direction and discretion in setting a direction for the district.
Mr. Harris, can I put you on the spot, and perhaps, I know you worked very hard on KCB earlier this year, and this is kind of your bailiwick, the L&M policies. So would you like to address Ms. Davis's concern here, or we can perhaps discuss next month at the meeting when we move them for approval? I don't want to put you on the spot.
I'm fine. Go ahead, Ms. Davis.
Oh, I don't want to delay the meeting tonight. I know this is a called meeting, so we have some more urgent things to address. So I would prefer that we have this conversation with a regular board meeting.
Okay, well, if we put these up for public comment, we can discuss them again at the next work session in December.
If we find something that we need to change, absolutely. Thank you.
Linda, you did mention one point that is important. You said that with policy KCB, if you rescind the others, the only thing that we have to refer to would be the law. And that may be that what we need to do and put more emphasis on the law, because when it comes to all of these policies, the law gonna supersede those policies.
The board members are not lawyers, and so we are not reviewing school board law all the time either. And so again, it gets back to how we govern and what is our framework. So I heard in the comment from Dr. Yeager, thank you, that these things change frequently enough that the policies could be out of date. Well, if the law changes, what is the vehicle for getting that change in the law into our policies?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That and then periodically you're going to have laws to change, to be repealed, etc. And I would say that's part of, I guess, what our government relations committee is all about, because I feel like that all school boards need to keep up with the laws, especially new laws as well as old laws, because if you don't, how can you abide by them?
Well, I can speak to that because I think that certainly our council, Mr. Pruitt, and for many years Don Myers and now Lawrence Harris have always been keeping us up to date on law changes, and we've been making policy changes to the law, I think, quite rapidly. I don't think that's been a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I would mention Mr. Pruitt as well. We rely on him to keep our legal processes up to date, for sure. And not having it in the policy doesn't mean we don't have to follow the new law. Any other questions or comments or concerns?
Yeah, I support Linda's movement to go ahead and if I understood her correctly, we're going to go ahead and put these out for public comment, and that will give her additional time to also critique particular policies that she may want to comment on.
Okay, thank you. Is that a motion, Mr. Davis?
That's a motion.
Is there a second?
That was a motion to move
To move these 12 policies to public comment.
Okay, I second.
Am I supposed to have the vote, or Ms. I guess?
Okay, is there I'm
There,
here. I'm
she's back.
sorry.
I was
about
looking
to
for
do it.
Ms. Dr. Maddox. I need your help.
I'm here. I'm sorry.
I was about to do roll call.
Okay, please go ahead and do the roll call.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Hold on a second. Hold on. A motion was made. It was seconded. Okay?
Right.
And, okay, go ahead.
So we
Discussion.
had discussion.
I think it's all in
You got to
favor.
carry that motion first.
Okay,
Well,
I'm sorry.
well, after the vote in the second. Okay, go ahead.
Vote in
Now-
second, that's correct, right? We on the right track, right?
So clarification on the point of clarification, this is a motion to take all the policies forward for public review. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
That's correct.
Dr. Thomas, you mind doing the roll call?
yes, ma'am. Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens,
Yes.
Miss Davis,
Yes.
Dr. Yeager,
Yes.
Dr. Dykeman,
Yes.
Mr. Worthy,
Yes.
Dr. Gant, Dr. Knox,
Yes.
Dr. Maddox.
Yes. So these policies will be moved forward for 4 weeks for public comment. This time we'll move to number 4 on the agenda, which is the continuity of discussion. Dr. Thomas, I will let you take care of this, and I apologize, you all. I have to make a 2-minute remarks for our annual meeting for my job, so I don't want, that's why I'm a little back and forth, and then I'll be totally in. So I apologize. I'm going to turn it over to you, Dr. Thomas.
It is no problem. And at this time, actually, Mr. James Barliman is here. As you all know, we do have our cognitive review next week. And Ms. Palmer has shared her screen so that you can see the agenda for the week. They will be virtually arriving on Sunday. So this is all done virtually via Zoom. And on Sunday, they will work together as a team and prepare for their interviews with us beginning on Monday. And on Monday, let's see if you can click that, Ms. Palmer. On Monday, it will be their interviews. I was trying to see if it would come up, but
Maybe you could make it a little bigger, please.
there we go. So Monday, they will begin interviews. I don't know if you can enlarge it any or not, Ms. Palmer, but they will do their opening remarks and talk about the purpose and the process of the monitoring review. And then I will give a progress report. On here. It has 50 minutes, 55 minutes, but they had told me about 15 or 20 minutes. But I will be collaborating with Dr. Gant on that overview on our progress to review the actions that have been taken by the board to address the directives provided in the Cognia report. And then as you can just follow through, they'll begin their interviews. And some of these will be done individually, some will be done as a group. And then we will have interviews with principals, community members, parent members, and then the district leadership team in the afternoon. And the way that those community and parent members were chosen was we used LSGT and attempted to just select a balanced group that's representative of the district, and so that all schools had a representation of voice at the table for this process. And then on Tuesday, yes, you can get a copy of that, Mr. Davis. On Tuesday, the team will be working in a work session to prepare just their initial report. And as you all know, we will not get a final report. I think the last time it took over 2 months for us to get an actual report from them. But they will do a report out with me at 12:30 on Tuesday. And I'm not sure if I will find out if that also includes Dr. Gant. I thought it did the last time, but they did not have that on the agenda. And okay, at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Barliman. He and I spoke a little earlier today. I know that when we prepared for the first visit, we had the attorneys to meet with each individual board member, but this time seems a little simpler in terms of expectation, but he's just going to review that with you all, and then we can take any questions that you might have.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Thomas. I shared earlier, Dr. Gant asked me to share the Cognia progress report, which was submitted to Cognia reviewers back on November 20th. The Cognia progress report is really the thing that you need to focus on the most. So my main recommendation as you move into these interviews with the Cognia reviewers virtually is they will be asking you questions about the content of that progress report. They will focus on the directives and the leadership standards that they had in their original Cognia special review report, and that's what we were mainly responding to. There are several overarching issues that they brought up in the end of the report. I would definitely review those as well. They talked a lot about board meetings, the lack of effectiveness and efficiency for board meetings. They talked about some team building aspects there, talked about trust building. Then they also talked about having norms, codes of ethics, and following those codes of ethics. Those were their sort of overarching concerns. So I would also look at those. Those are all included in the report. Also included in the report is an introduction to the report and then a conclusion as well. So if you focus on the Cognia progress report, if you ground yourself in that report and the documents that are linked in the report. So what I did was I just linked artifacts within the report. They're all in the same Google folder. There are some external links to board docs documents as well. And if you click on those links, it will lead you to another document. And so I would recommend clicking on those links as you go through the report as well to see what kinds of artifacts were included in the report. And those are the things that the Cognia reviewers will be looking at as well. If you internalize what's in the report, you will all provide consistent answers to the Cognia reviewers. I believe that that is what they're looking for mainly. They want to know whether you have read the report that was written, whether you are all on the same page with what is in the report. And one thing that I want everyone to note, and Dr. Thomas and I have spoken about this at length, is that if you look at your journey so far, you should all be encouraged by your progress. Sorry, baby in the background. The work you've done is remarkable, and I think it's all found there in that report. You've been very responsive to the Cognia reviewers, and I think that's very evident in the report and the documents that are linked in the report as well. You know, if you think about the training that you've done, you reflect on what you've learned throughout the year. And then I would say also just focus on the fact that this is a check-in with the Cognia reviewers. They are not looking for a completed journey at this point. They're looking for progress. I would always recommend being honest and truthful about where you are as a board and where you want to go. So just relax. I think it's a time to relax. I think this is a much simpler process than what we went through back when the special review team was here the first time. It's a different atmosphere here in Clark County. I think you can relax and give truthful and honest answers about where you are. I think you can be confident about what you're going to say. And just a couple other things that I wanted to note, just two more things that you could focus on in your interviews. The first thing is the self-assessment. I believe the self-assessment is the most important work that you all did over the course of this year. It's often referenced in the report itself. It provides an outstanding baseline to where you were earlier this year. So reviewing that self-assessment and the action plan that was created based on the results of the self-assessment may help, conceptualize where you were earlier this year and then think about where you're going. So it can do, it's sort of a dual role there where you can think about where you were and reflect on that, and then think about where you're going when you think about those action steps that you created based on the results of the self-assessment. And then finally, the other document that's also referenced in the report is the strategic plan for 2021 through 2023. I think focusing on there was a presentation that Lawrence and I, Mr. Harris and I did earlier this year back in October, where we talked about similarities and differences between the 2018 to 2020 plan. And then we also talked about differences from the, divergences from the 2018 to 2020 strategic plan. The
James, can I jump in right here too?
Yeah,
We're going to
yeah,
share
sure.
an updated copy with you tomorrow, because I know Dr. Dykeman, you all had asked about baseline data being added to that, and work on that and have it. There was just one edit / modification from one department that I'm actually going to talk to you about in my time with you this evening, but we will get that to you first thing tomorrow morning. So you will have that to review for the remainder of this week over the weekend, but you'll also have an opportunity to ask us any questions for clarity that you might have about that plan. But we did go back and add that baseline information so you have a point of reference from where we're starting to where we're trying to go.
Right, and I think that is a key document as you speak to there are a few documents that can keep you grounded and keep you consistent when you're talking to the Cognia reviewers. And just to say them again, the Cognia progress report, the self-assessment and the action plan that came from the self-assessment, and the strategic plan itself. I think those are the three key documents. There are obviously a lot of other documents that are, referenced and linked in the progress report itself, but I think those are the three key documents. If you focus on those, like I said, just breathe and relax for all of us. Also, our stakeholder groups, I think, are very excited about being a part of this process, and I really do think we're in a good place. It took, I'll just say this, it took writing the report, drafting the report to, and then enumerating and listing all the things that you all have done, all the work that you've done, and reflecting on that. I think that CCSD and the board is in a very good place. And I hope that the Cognia reviewers see that.
Yeah, James, I have a comment I want to make here. As I read through that report today, and some of the links that you mentioned a few minutes ago, when I clicked on them, nothing happened.
Okay.
So I was just wondering whoever could correct that. In fact, I can't recall exactly the ones I clicked on, but I clicked on several, but nothing happened.
Okay. If you could, if you can tomorrow, maybe just shoot me one of those that's not working.
Okay.
Just so I can test it, and I'll go back and test them tonight to make sure they're working. Dr. Thomas, I haven't heard anything from Cognia about the links not working. Have you?
No, I haven't received any updates or feedback from Dr. Schaefer.
Okay, but I'll go through and test them tonight. And Dr. Worthy, if you can tell me which ones aren't working for you, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I'll try it again tomorrow, and then I'll let you know.
Okay.
Thanks.
And I just want to briefly echo what Mr. Barliman has said. When we went back and looked at the report, I think we've been so busy in the work that we've lost sight of how much work we've done. I don't know if we've even looked up to see how far we've come organizationally in addressing the directives that were provided by Cognia. It's just been a busy 9 months, but when you look at the report, it's commendable to see how much has been accomplished and how much, I don't even want to say has been checked off, because that suggests compliance versus true commitment to growth and improvement. And so a lot has been accomplished. So I really encourage you to just review that document and be comfortable in knowing how much effort has been made on the part of the team in addressing the issues that were presented by Cognia. And as James said, just being open and honest and reflective about where we were, where we are, and recognizing we know that we aren't where we want to end up, but we definitely are not where we started out. And I think that growth and improvement is going to go a long way for us with the review next week. Yes, all of our meetings with Cognia are virtual. It's a total virtual review. Are there any other questions for Mr. Barlament? If things come up, you're reading over something, don't hesitate to email him with a strategic plan. Again, as I said, you will have that first thing tomorrow morning. You can reach out to me, Mr. Harris, and then any of the cabinet members that the strategic goals align to. We can get connected and have conversations to make sure there's clarity and understanding there.
So has that plan already been shared with Cognia?
No, they did not request it. Well, they may have requested it from you, James. They did not request that from me.
No, they didn't request it from me. I reference it in the report, but it's not linked in the report.
And is it published anywhere?
I don't think so.
Because we were working.
It wasn't complete. Yeah, it wasn't totally complete
based on feedback that we had received from you all and wanting to update the basics. So that has not been complete. It has not been approved yet, Ms. Davis, by the board. And so we were bringing that to you all in December with the updates and revisions that were requested.
Thank you. That's what I sort of remembered. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Are we ready to move forward?
Yeah,
Okay,
I just want to compliment Dr. Thomas and James for the work they put into it, as well as other staff members.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
I agree.
Mr. Parliament has been a tremendous assistance.
My pleasure.
Thank you all for all of the hours of PL that have made it easy for James to fill in that template. So.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and move forward to item 5. We're preparing to go into executive session to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action or dismissal or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or employee, or to interview applicants for the position of superintendent. The floor is open for a motion.
I move that we go into executive session.
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Worthy and Mr. Davis. Are there any questions or discussion? Okay, Dr. Thomas, do you mind calling the roll?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Yeager?
Yes.
Dr. Dykeman?
Yes.
Mr. Worthy?
Yes.
Dr. Gant? Dr. Knox?
Yes.
And Dr. Maddox?
Yes. So this time we will enter into executive session.
One more, Harold. Mr. Worthy needs to go to the breakout room.
Say that again?
Harold needs to move you to the breakout room.
Okay, all right.
And Dr. Anderson doesn't need to be in the breakout room. I don't know if you put her there or not.
No, she's not there.